The worst foods that feed cancer cells. A doctor explains. It is a startling reality that 50% of all cancers are preventable, and a significant portion of this prevention lies within the choices we make about the food we consume daily. Our modern diet, unfortunately, plays a profound role in how cancer develops. For cancer cells to survive, thrive, and proliferate, they require four essential elements: a fuel source, predominantly glucose; a state of chronic inflammation; specific growth signals like insulin and IGF-1; and a constant supply of blood, a process known as angiogenesis. Alarmingly, many staple foods in the contemporary diet actively promote each of these stages in cancerous growth. While many people understandably worry about excessive sugar, red meat, or pesticides, one of the most insidious categories of foods that directly nourish cancer cells is often hidden within items we perceive as healthy. This problematic category comprises ultra-processed foods containing emulsifiers. These additives are incorporated to enhance creaminess and are ubiquitous in our food supply, appearing in protein bars, plant-based milks, ice creams, coffee creamers, gluten-free products, bottled salad dressings, and even some yogurts and hyper-processed snacks. The implications are significant. Two specific emulsifiers, polysorbate 80 and carboxymethylcellulose, CMC, have been repeatedly shown in animal studies to trigger inflammation, disrupt the gut barrier, and promote tumor formation. The gut lining, ideally a tight, protective, and selective barrier, is compromised by these emulsifiers. They dissolve the mucus layer, the critical protective shield in our intestines, allowing bacteria and their byproducts to come into close contact with immune cells. This proximity inevitably leads to low-grade, chronic inflammation, metabolic dysregulation, and alterations in the gut microbiome, a veritable breeding ground for cancer. Emulsifiers, therefore, do not directly cause cancer, but create the permissive environment fueled by chronic inflammation in which cancer cells flourish. If cancer is the spark, emulsifiers act like dry tinder, exacerbating the conditions for a conflagration. To mitigate exposure to emulsifiers, a proactive approach is necessary. Firstly, meticulously read food labels and be vigilant for specific ingredients such as polysorbate 80, polysorbate 60, carboxymethylcellulose, cellulose gum, and carrageenan, along with mono and diglycerides. If any of these appear on a product, it is advisable to leave it on the shelf. Secondly, opt for simpler alternatives. Choose oat milk or almond milk with only a few ingredients. Prefer fresh cream or light cream over artificial creamers. Make your own salad dressings from scratch rather than relying on bottled versions. Select protein bars with recognizable ingredients. A practical and effective strategy is what can be termed the grandmother's rule. If your grandmother, a presumably skilled cook, wouldn't recognize an ingredient on a food label, it's highly probable your gut won't either. Adhering to this simple guideline significantly reduces inflammation, a primary driver of cancer cell growth. Beyond emulsifiers, another critical concern in our modern food system is contamination that can occur long before food reaches our plates. One of the most potent natural carcinogens we've encountered originates from a source many people overlook: a specific fungal toxin called aflatoxin. Aflatoxins are produced when certain crops are stored in warm, humid conditions, especially when moisture control is inadequate. These toxins are commonly found in peanuts, pistachios, almonds, nuts, corn, and grains. This is not because these foods are inherently bad, but rather because they are susceptible to mold growth during storage and transportation. A common misconception is that nuts themselves cause cancer. This is inaccurate. It is the contamination of nuts that poses the problem. Contamination becomes more likely with imported nut mixes, nuts purchased in bulk, nut butters from lower quality suppliers, and grains stored without proper temperature control. Aflatoxins are harmful because they directly damage our DNA and overwhelm the liver's detoxification pathways. Prolonged exposure significantly increases the risk of liver cancer. The key here is managing exposure, not outright elimination. The goal is to choose fresh, clean, and properly stored nuts. It is recommended to purchase nuts from reputable companies that source from dry climates. Storing nuts in the refrigerator or freezer and consuming them within a month of opening the package are excellent practices. Toasting nuts can offer some reduction in aflatoxin exposure, though it does not entirely eliminate it. A significant issue with our contemporary diet is its excessive carbohydrate load. The danger lies in how many carbohydrates, particularly when consumed in large quantities, are directly converted into sugar. Cancer cells have a strong affinity for, and indeed depend on, sugar. This includes not only refined table sugar, but also the glucose derived from common foods like bread, pasta, cereals, pastries, sodas, sweetened beverages, fruit juices, and candy. This phenomenon is linked to the Warburg effect, where cancer cells preferentially metabolize glucose rapidly, even in the presence of oxygen, making glucose their default fuel. Imagine our body's normal cells creating energy like carefully stacking Lego bricks, following instructions and stopping when the task is complete. Cancer cells, however, are like chaotic Lego builders, assembling bricks in random orders, creating something disorganized and entirely different from the intended structure. This disordered assembly only occurs when cancer cells are fueled by sugar. Furthermore, sugar doesn't just feed cancer cells. It also stimulates growth hormones like insulin and IGF-1, which act as accelerators for cancer cell proliferation. Returning to the Lego analogy, sugar prompts cancer cells to build chaotically, and then insulin and IGF-1 signal them to continue this disordered stacking indefinitely, leading to an enormous, unmanageable Lego tower that the body cannot dismantle, a tumor. Certain cancer cells, particularly breast cancer cells, can possess up to 6 times more insulin receptors than normal cells, indicating that cancer is inherently programmed to thrive on this sugar-driven growth pathway. A high sugar diet thus sends more potent growth signals directly to cancer cells compared to healthy cells. The good news is that complete carbohydrate elimination is unnecessary. The focus should be on selecting carbohydrates that nourish your body rather than feeding cancer cells. This involves replacing high glycemic index carbohydrates with low glycemic index alternatives. Opt for whole grain or sprouted bread over white bread. Choose chickpea, lentil, or quinoa pasta instead of traditional pasta. Replace sugary cereals with oats, and opt for Greek yogurt with berries instead of pastries. Generally, minimizing added sugars is paramount, which means reducing consumption of pastries, cookies, sodas, and other sweetened drinks like sweet tea and energy drinks. Prioritize whole food carbohydrates rich in fiber, which are digested more slowly. Think of berries, beans, and quinoa. For soda enthusiasts, consider unsweetened tea, sparkling water, or even diet soda as a last resort. The fundamental takeaway is that you don't need to abandon all carbohydrates. You simply need to choose those that support your well-being, not the proliferation of cancer cells. Another pervasive misconception is the belief that moderate alcohol consumption is harmless. From an oncology perspective, however, alcohol is classified as a Group 1 carcinogen, placing it in the same category as tobacco and asbestos. This classification signifies a clear and established link between alcohol intake and cancer. Even small amounts of alcohol can increase the risk of colon, breast, liver, and esophageal cancers. The primary mechanism involves the metabolic conversion of alcohol into acetaldehyde, a chemical that directly damages DNA and promotes inflammation. Alcohol also interferes with DNA repair, depletes essential nutrients like B vitamins, disrupts hormonal balance, and acts as a solvent, making other carcinogens more potent and damaging to tissues. In essence, alcohol not only inflicts damage, but also renders the body more susceptible to other sources of harm. It is crucial to understand that even one alcoholic drink per day has been shown to elevate the risk of certain cancers, particularly breast cancer. This is not about achieving perfection or dwelling on guilt. It's about recognizing the truth. When it comes to cancer, the less alcohol consumed, the better. A simple reduction, such as from 6 drinks per week to 4, can significantly impact your overall cancer risk. If retaining all the intricate details discussed in this video feels overwhelming, it is completely normal. The essential points and vital knowledge are consolidated in an anti-cancer food guide, available for free via the link provided in the description. As the wise scholar said, the wise heart acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge, a principle drawn from Proverbs 18:15. If this video has illuminated how common everyday foods can escalate your cancer risk, you might find the accompanying video, Common Medications That Silently Increase Your Risk of Dementia, presented by Dr. Kareem, to be highly informative and a valuable next step in your pursuit of health knowledge.